Welcome back to Africa 54. Twice yearly, the World Bank puts out its Global Economic Prospects Report. Now, those findings were released from Washington last night, and Africa 54's Laurel Bowman joins us with the results. Laurel?
Thank you, Vincent. Well, the news was a little disappointing. In January, the researchers who gathered this data were expecting growth in developing countries to be about 5.3%, and instead it was more like 4.8%. We spoke with the lead author of the Global Economic Prospects Report, Andrew Burns.
We look at the global forecast. 2014 has been a bit of a disappointment. We've had weak growth in the United States. We've had the situation in the Ukraine. That's slow growth this year. The good news is that for developing countries and for the high-income countries, that acceleration we anticipated before is still going to be there. Developing countries growing by between 5.3 and 5.5% in 2015 and 2016. Well, I think what's happening in Africa is very exciting. What we've seen over the last several years is growth, if you exclude South Africa, hitting that 6% range or just a little bit under. That's really positive news. It's something that we haven't seen in the 1980s and 1990s, and what's particularly encouraging is it's been sustained.
Well, high remittance trends are high on the radar of many world economists. Remittances are small sums of money that migrants send home to family members. But with 200 million migrants out there, those small sums add up quickly. And in 2013, migrants sent back $400 billion. All this has economists wondering, can remittances boost not just a receiving family's budget, but that country's economy too?
Then after 3, what is that? Yeah. So I think
when Jean-Claude Casati and his wife Miriam came to the U.S. from the Democratic Republic of Congo, they immediately began sending money home. They wanted to help family members left behind.
In Africa, when we are growing up, we believe in supporting each other. We believe in supporting our parent, specifically, and we believe in supporting our brothers and sisters.
Jean-Claude is a doctor who works on HIV/AIDS for Catholic Relief Services in Maryland. He frequently visits Congo and says he hopes he is helping his fellow Africans through his work. But he knows that the $400 a month he sends home to his parents are a lifeline.
If we don't do something, do you think that that government will actually support my parent or our parent? They will not.
They don't care about it.
Economist Adolfo Barajas of the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, has been studying remittance trends for a decade, watching how they affect receiving economies.
The reason why they're on the radar screen, they've been growing tremendously. From 1990 to 2010, they grew more than sevenfold.
Barajas says massive migration drives the trend, but notes a possible downside. That governments may be less efficient if they are receiving large windfalls of cash. Economists have long said that remittances generally strengthen the families who receive them by boosting their income. But some are concerned that all this cash can cause a nation's currency to appreciate, bidding up prices and making that country less competitive when it comes to, say, exporting goods. But economists, including Barajas, agree remittances affect a receiving country's economy in many positive ways. Dilip Ratha is a remittance expert with the World Bank.
They provide incomes, they provide a lifeline to people, they reduce poverty, they provide funding for business investments, human capital investments, education, health.
Economists say that when countries are in conflict, like Jean-Claude and Miriam's Democratic Republic of Congo, private investors tend to sneak out, while remitters rush in.
Because that is precisely when the needs of the families left behind increases, and to meet those needs, migrants send more money home.
One thing's for sure, almost anywhere in Washington, you can find a remitter. This Egyptian runs a food truck.
I send to my mother $150 a month. And to my wife and 3 kids, I send $500.
And this Ghanaian is a waiter.
Like $500 or $1,000 every month, $500
a month?
Yeah.
You send home to your family?
Yeah.
Dilip Ratha has sent money home, and so has Adolfo Barajas.
Yes, so when I ask questions as a researcher, I say, well, what motivates remitters? I have a starting point because I can think about what has motivated me in the past.
For Miriam and Jean-Claude Kazadi, it's about showing their parents they have not forgotten them, even though they live so far away.
And it's interesting to note that remittances far outweigh official aid going to many countries. And one economist told us that in Sri Lanka, a baby's birth weight is higher if his or her family receives remittances.